Hey guys, welcome back to Choosing Recovery. I'm Olivia.
I'm Scotty.
And today we have an incredible story from Sean, so let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Zoom.
What was your drug or drugs of choice if you had multiple, and what age did you start using?
Well, my drug of choice is alcohol. And anything that you had that was free, I would try that. I started fishing with my uncle when I was really young. I don't even recall, and I remember finishing his beers like it was a thing to do. And then at 4th grade, I think I started smoking pot and experimenting with other mind-altering substances like pills, anything in medicine cabinets.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, how long have you used for?
I stopped using and drinking at 23. I got sober at 23, so from that point on.
Awesome.
So, who did your addiction affect?
It affected everybody around me. You know, in my addiction, I thought it was all about me. Like, if you had my life, you would use or drink like I did, or if only all the things would just look the way, like if I would just have that, you know, white picket fence, that hot girlfriend, that good job, I would stop drinking so much. But the truth is, it affected everybody. I mean, I came home every day and I'd look at my dad's face and he had such a stare of disgust and fear, and then my mom would be scared to answer the phone because she wasn't sure if it was the last phone call. But these are things I was able to see in recovery. I wasn't able to see it then.
Your dad's in recovery also, right?
And my mom, yeah.
That's awesome.
Days in, yeah.
That's
Awesome.
incredible. I love that video of
that was
family.
the video. That's you,
That's
hey.
you.
That was awesome.
It was.
She had 10 years at one point. They got clean and sober in '96, and she had 10 years, but she was complacent and didn't work the program, and it caught up with her. And she's been trying to get sober for about 10 years. And my growth in Alcoholics Anonymous has allowed her to feel comfortable to reach out to me and see that this works. And it's just beautiful.
And right there's a message to people, you know, working a program saves your life, you know, and it doesn't matter how much time you have, your addiction or your alcoholism, whatever it is, it doesn't go away.
It's definitely, we do part of the family series on our YouTube channel because we think it's so important for the family just to have the understanding. We always say research, you know, but your video and you're like, it's a family disease, and then you're like, but we do recover. I'm like, I love it. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. What led you to get clean?
You know, I was dying of alcoholism. To drink was to die, literally. I got a good idea, so I was doing all these other things, and luckily, I'm kind of a violent person. When I was drunk, I was covering all my feelings. So I got in a lot of criminal trouble. I was homeless for a while, and I ended up going to county jail. Somebody that loves me very much decided to turn me in, and I got a chance at felony drug court. But that isn't what led me to get clean, because those things were ineffective. It wasn't until I heard something I needed to hear in Alcoholics Anonymous from someone that just completely changed my perspective, and that was September 1st of 2012. And the obsession's been gone ever since.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
It is.
How are you staying clean today?
You know, the only people that I ever see that relapsed end up saying they quit going to meetings. Everybody I've ever met that relapsed, they said they quit going to meetings or they quit doing these things that they started doing in the beginning. Today, I go to a meeting. Thank God for Zoom. I go to a meeting every morning, every single morning, sometimes 2 meetings or 3 meetings a day. And I have a sponsee, I have a sponsor. And that's what I'm doing for my recovery is those simple basic things, but most of all, I'm teachable and I'm capable of having somebody tell me, hey, what's going on here, you know, and actually listening to it and making a choice to make a difference. So I'm willing to change my perception.
Awesome, that's huge. What's your biggest accomplishment in your recovery?
If you had asked me a few years ago, I would have said things like good job, my son, all these material things. But I would say my biggest accomplishment is, I'd like to say a peace of mind, but sometimes I don't have a peace of mind. I think the ability to change my perspective. After all, everything is about perspective. I could talk to you guys on a daily basis and I could have all these problems come about. I could whine about being a single father and about all these jobs and all these financial insecurities, or I could practice some faith in God or higher powers, trust in the process, and actually just look at every situation differently. I choose to be like, well, hey, at least I have a place for me and my son to live. Like, you know, I know that if I continue this path, I work hard, I don't make that many mistakes, and I stay out of my way, like, things are gonna work out. So really, there's no problems today in my life because I'm capable of changing my perception.
You know, that's why it's so important we do this, because even if we've been clean or sober for a long time, there might be something that's going on with us, but we can't figure it out. So when we speak to another addict or alcoholic that shares their story, maybe we get to hear something from them that we find out, hey, maybe that's what's been affecting me. And
I think it's huge that you focus on the perspective of things, because breaking life down is literally how you look at it. Knowing what you know now, would you change anything?
As far as my past or in recovery?
I guess that's a good question.
It is.
Yeah, question back to our question.
I wouldn't change anything, because it says we do not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it, right? So every decision I've ever made in my life, every poor decision, circumstance, every shitty everything is my biggest asset today. So today, my greatest reward and the greatest thing that'll ensure me immunity from alcohol or drugs is working with others.
yeah,
And so you got people that are dying with drug addiction or alcoholism, and they're going to these shrinks that have no experience with actually feeling the pain they feel and accomplishing, pushing through that. They can only fix the mental and physical aspects of disease. And disease is a threefold disease. It's got a spiritual malady also. So my experience can save lives of many other alcoholics and addicts, and I have that is unique, right? So my personal experience has been my greatest asset.
Absolutely.
And there's no greater reward than helping others. So
love that
that's what
answer.
Yeah.
Love that answer.
If you could say something to somebody that's still actively using or drinking, what would you say to them?
People reach out to me all the time asking if I could help their family members. And if I could give you the gift of recovery, I wouldn't. I wouldn't just give it to you, because I'd be taking away your chance at the experience or the journey. But what I would say to a newcomer, if it was like a direct statement, I would say, if you're looking for a manager of your own life, would you hire yourself to do it again? Right? And it's really likely they would not hire themselves to manage their life. And if they are, maybe they need to go practice a little more. And when that stuns them, as it stuns me when I heard it, I would say, well, you might as well leave it up to a higher power. Just give it to God. Let somebody else manage your life. And that's what this whole program's about. It's about giving me power, because I'm powerless. And my power isn't a religious God. It's not anything big and grandiose. It's just a power, something with some spiritual principles that helps me get through life. So I would ask them that question.
Awesome. Yeah, that question threw me off. I'm like, shit.
Hell no. No way.
If you could say something to a family member of a loved one that's still in active addiction, what would you say to the family member? As bad as you want to be the change or the difference in that person's life, it's completely out of your control. It's completely out of your hands. Give it to God, and if they're non-religious and that pisses them off, I'll just say it's completely out of your hands. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't beat yourself up over it. Whether you believe it or not, they're suffering. They're not bad people. It's not personal. But there's the biggest thing you could do is separate yourself from the problem until they're ready to get help. Absolutely.
Yeah. And some parents refuse to believe that they can't be the solution. Bullying, it could kill your child.
It's only going to hurt the enabler also.
Absolutely.
And I think it's huge. Like, we're so involved in our family series, and we're trying to put more into it because we think that it's good for them to know that it's not their fault.
Yep.
And it's so huge. We say it all the time. It's just do the research.
The book has a chapter to the wives, and in that chapter it talks about a woman, first an alcoholic, and then thereafter it talks about that woman reaching out to family members.
But we're gonna open the floor to you. It's on you.
The big book has a chapter to the wives, and in that chapter it talks about a woman, first an alcoholic, and then thereafter it talks about that woman reaching out to family members. And I think it's very important that anybody with somebody in their family that is struggling, they arm themselves with facts about addiction and maybe read that chapter. Because the response I always get, the past few lives I've done, the response I always get is, hey, my loved one is using and drinking, it's killing me, and it's all my fault, you know, and it's just not their fault. You know, life will life you no matter what, right? I've been clean and sober a little over 8 years. The more that I'm clean and sober, the longer I'm clean and sober, the less I know. The more I realize that I have a disease of perception, the more I'm going to learn. Life has not been rainbows and unicorns and all that stuff. Life has been very, very challenging, and it will always be very challenging. But my reaction to life is getting much, much better. I have gone through things in recovery that brings tears to my eyes every single day. But I'm not miserable. I'm not hopeless, right? I've recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body.
Yep.
I know with 100% assurance that I can make it through absolutely anything that life throws at me, so long as I'm willing to reach out and ask for help, and I'm willing to pray, whether I believe in it or not, just take the action and do what's right in front of me. So if you're struggling and you're struggling in recovery, the worst thing I think you could do is try to stay dry, try to stay sober off of TikTok, try to stay, try to just stay off with the network of friends is amazing, but without doing any kind of work on yourself, like trust God, clean house, and help others.
Yep.
You take the drugs or alcohol away from me, and I'm left with the problem.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to end up putting a bullet in my head if I keep going that way. So I hope that whoever's watching this can find the courage to try something new. What do they have to lose? And by trying something new, I mean get a sponsor, work the damn steps like your life depends on it.
Absolutely.
My name is Sean G. My clean and sober date is September 1st, 2012.
Woo woo!
I'm grateful for the ability to change my perspective.